Hello, leading ladies. Hello, leading ladies. It's me, Christy Schrader, coming to you today to talk about when you feel like you have so many interests, you don't know how to choose. How do you decide what to focus on? And I've got some great tips for you today that I think are going to help you, especially if you experience FOMO, fear of missing out. What if you choose the wrong thing and you were supposed to be doing the other thing? Or if you're like me and a little bit of a perfectionist, what if you choose the wrong thing just because it's the wrong thing? Good morning. It's so good to have you with us. If you're watching the replay, please just type in replay. If you're watching us on Facebook, you can give your permissions for comments by clicking on the link for StreamYard, which is the platform I use so that I can go live on both Facebook and YouTube and then on Instagram as well. So great to see you ladies today. I hope that today will be an encouragement to you if you often find yourself having so many different interests, so many different potentials, so many different possibilities that it's really hard to choose what in the world you're supposed to do next. Good morning. It's great to see you, Me Gray 33. I hope you're having a great morning. I'm sure you've had a purposeful morning already. I know you. So you're already started strong. So today we're talking about when you have so many interests, it's hard to figure out which one to focus on next. And I thought it would be a good time just to share kind of my story of why I came to the tips that I'm going to give you today and why I know that they work. So when I went to school, from high school to college, I chose psychology as my major. I have always loved people. And even as a teenager, like junior high years, high school years, I had so many different friends that I wished I could help in some way, but I had no clue how to help them. And I thought I would love to find out how to help my friends and get the education in psychology and understand people. But really, I wanted to choose psychology too, because then all my options would still be open. After I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I could go on for a master's, I could get a variety of different jobs, and I didn't want to pigeonhole myself. So I went to school for psychology, and even during those years, I remember as a brand new Christian, I was memorizing Jeremiah 29:11 about, for God knows the plans and purposes that he has for us. And that was really special to me because, especially since I dated and broke up with Nathan, my husband, 5 different times before we got married, I had to really learn how to rely on God and trust that he understood what my future was going to be and that he knew the plans and purposes he had for me and that they were going to be good. And so purpose, even from back then when I didn't really consciously think about it, had always been such a big thing for me. I love the idea of God knowing the purposes he has for us. Now, skip ahead quite a few years. We had just had our baby Isaac and then our second son, Ethan. And Ethan was, 2008, he would have been 2 years old. And I went to a women's conference and I learned about human trafficking for the first time. And it really was heartbreaking and devastated me. And I felt like I needed to do something about this. And what turned in, that's a story for another day, but God actually led me to go to Moldova, Eastern Europe, to learn about human trafficking and to interview government officials and nonprofit representatives and village pastors, and even get to go to the safe homes where these women and teen girls had been, who had been trafficked. And throughout the journey of a year-long fundraising to try to get over to Eastern Europe, I was blogging and writing about this adventure that I was going on to learn about human trafficking. And the truth was, I loved to read when I was a kid. And I would love to read like Judy Blume and Beverly Cleary. And then I even got into Sweet Valley High. Now, if you're not in your 40s, these might not make any sense to you, but I loved reading. And even throughout high school, I got like straight A's in English and wrote a children's book and got accolades from the teacher. And then through jobs that I had, I figured out ways to be able to write. I started a newsletter when I worked at Target Corporation for our entire department. I put out a newsletter when I worked for a financial company every single month for our financial advisors. I loved to write and to use what I could put together to benefit other people. And I've always loved writing. And so blogging when I went to Moldova, Eastern Europe made sense. So then came a couple years later, Nanowrimo, which is National Novel Writing Month. I tried out writing a novel, a young adult novel, and the idea is that you'll write 50,000 words. And I started it, and circumstances caused me to stop doing that. But that is still a dream that I have. And writing that and starting it made me realize that I love writing. It was so enjoyable. I love to do it. So all that to lead up to this point. When we have so many interests and focuses and desires and even talents, things that you're good at, can be really difficult to figure out what in the world you're supposed to do next. Now, I am an entrepreneur, which means I have daily choices to be able to do whatever I want, which is awesome and freeing. But unless we figure out how to sort of wrap all that together and figure out where to focus our energies, even if it's just for today, we're going to be scattered and we're not going to be able to accomplish as much as we want to accomplish. So I shared a little bit of my story, being a Christian and loving to write and all of that to lead you up to this point. What are the things that you're struggling with right now deciding? Like if you had to say just 3 things, 3 options that you have that you're trying to decide, think about those 3 things that you cannot make a choice about. Which one are you supposed to pursue? Which one are you supposed to do? And then I want you to imagine if you were filling out a piece of paper and a pencil and you had to fill in this sentence. Finish this sentence with whatever comes to mind first. I want to be. Did something come to mind? I want to be. That's the sentence that has helped me, because every single time I ask that question of myself, it pops in my head, even if I've forgotten about it for so long. I want to be a writer. And there are so many different ways that we can be a writer. And I've gotten to do that in so many different ways in my past. And it's sort of a centering thing for me. Is this leading me to my dream of being a writer? I still have a dream of writing a book and publishing books. What is that thing that you hold on to that every time you say, I want to be, you come back to that? Now, I've talked to women that just wanted to be a mom, and some of them haven't had their own kids, but they're figuring out other ways to mother people. I've had people that have told me, I just love people. If I can be serving people, I'm happy. And they've done that in a variety of different ways. If you've had a lot of different ways that passions have percolated and shown up in your life, try to get back down to the core desire. So do you love to travel? And so you've gone to all these different places. Like, try to boil it down to that major thing. I want to be. And then think about, who do you want to become? Who do I want to become? Have you given that any thought? What comes to mind first when you ask yourself, who do I want to become? For me, something that I've come back to so many different times, and this could be different for anybody, but as a Christian woman, the thing that always comes to mind for me is, I want to become a friend of God. Now, I'm already a friend of God, but I just have this desire that I could be someone he could trust. Like, I know he is trustworthy, but I want to be such a good friend to God that if he would ask me to do something, he knows Christy's going to do it. I can count on Christy. And so I'm not perfect in that, obviously. I'm not perfect on who I want to be, but asking those questions, who do you want to be and who do you want to become? That can give you a guiding light to move forward. So look at those options again of what you want to do. Which ones of those would line up well with your desire for who you want to be and who you want to become? Maybe that will help you with your decision. And if there's still such, like, I don't know, they all do, they all fit that. I want to empower you to realize that God does not write out every single instruction for your life because He gave you free choice. And He gave you everything that makes up you, the desires of your heart. If you love variety, if you love doing all these different things, that's because that's how He made you to be. And so He trusts you, just like I want Him to trust me as a friend. He trusts you to make decisions. And one thing that's so cool is even if we would choose the wrong decision and make complete terrible choices, His grace is sufficient. And He is able to cover over those mistakes and work on those things. Now, we're going to have consequences for every choice we make, but God is big enough to continue to lead us on the path that He had planned for us. He has good purposes. He has good plans for you, even when you have no clue what's up ahead. I did not know I was going to marry Nathan Schrader. I thought probably this was the end when I was memorizing those verses. But the truth is that God knew the purposes and plans He had for me. And He knows the purposes and plans He has for you, and they're good, and they're to prosper you and not to harm you. And so today, as you're trying to make your choice, if you have to choose what you want to focus on, but you don't feel like focusing on something, simply think of it as, this is how I'm going to move forward most effectively. What is that guiding light? What is the thing I want to be, the thing I want to become? And just to trust God as He trusts you with your choices. So give me a message if you watch this, and if Melissa, if you want to message me and just let me know kind of if this resonated with you at all. I would love to hear. I'm talking to women who feel like they do have too many passions. They feel like they do have too many purposes, too many potentials, and they're trying to sort those things out in their mind so that they can live a more effective life and make sense of it all, make sense of all the different things they want to do and the talents that they have. And I would love to just have like a one-on-one Zoom conversation to get to know you better. If you are into that, I'm preparing a course, a signature course down the road. And the more people I talk to that can resonate with that, the better I'll be able to provide exactly what you need. So please reach out if you'd like to talk in the DMs and the personal messages. And I just wish you the very best day. Let me just close in prayer for you today. Lord, I just pray for the lady that is listening right now that has so many interests. You've made her special. You've made her with so much potential. And I pray that, first of all, she would realize there's nothing wrong with her at all for having all of these desires. You've given her a verve for life. You have given her desire to make the most of her one life. And I know that that can be scary, that we can't fit it all in. That's the reality. But I pray that she would be able to choose, even if it's just for this season, even if it's just for today, what should she focus on today? Give her guidance. We know that you are the one who will lead us, and you are going to be so faithful to hold our hand and walk us into every good purpose. So I just pray for her today that you will bless her and let her just experience peace as she takes that next step forward. We love you, Lord. Amen. Well, God bless you, lady, and have an awesome day. Take care. We'll talk to you later.